everyone, welcome to a new video, and in this video I would like to talk to you about some of my favorite drugstore foundations if you have a very fair complexion. I already had this video idea, and then of course the Tarte Shape Tape drama started happening with a very not inclusive shade range if you have deeper skin. However, we should also address the fact that drugstore foundations are terrible when it comes to being inclusive. I live in a country where the makeup offerings aren't that great, especially in the drugstore, where in the US and in the UK, but also Germany, you have aisles of makeup. Over here it's like tucked away in like a little corner, and even a brand like Maybelline or L'Oreal don't have a lot of stock. So especially since I'm very fair, I have struggled so much trying to find a foundation that matches me. Many of the foundations that I bought, even if they were drugstore, are from different countries because they tend to do a lot more shades there. I think especially drugstore and affordable brands need to work on their shade range, both in the light end of the spectrum, but also definitely the darker end of the spectrum. They definitely only seem to cater to like the middle ground of things, and both like extremes aren't very much catered to. However, that being said, I have 5 tried and true foundations that I love for my pale skin that match me, and that I know that some of these foundations that I'm about to show you don't only cater to very light skin tones, but they also have good ranges for darker skin tones as well. So yeah, I hope this video is going to be helpful, and let's just get to the foundations. That if we talk shade ranges that are very inclusive, then we have to mention the L'Oreal True Match foundation. The shade range is different depending where you're at. In the US, they have this entire display. It's got cool, it's got warm, it's got neutral undertones, from light all the way to dark. I don't know, they do like 50 different shades in this foundation. Over here in Europe, and especially the Netherlands, the offerings are a little bit limited. But if you now go to certain drugstores that have like a larger like assortment of makeup, you will be able to find now the full European range of the True Match in stores. Yay! And they now also do the neutral line, which didn't used to be available here, which is why I went for one of the neutral ones. This is in 1N, so this is the lightest neutral shade that is available. I do find that this isn't super light. Before the packaging, I used to have the old packaging as well. I bought 1RC, which was very, very pale on me, a little too pale perhaps, and I find that this matches me just a little bit better. It's very light, but it also goes very dark. This is a very liquidy foundation. It definitely has more of like a dewy finish, and I think that goes for most of the foundations that I'm about to show you, because I find that if a foundation isn't full coverage, if it has a lighter coverage and you are fair skinned, you can get away with blending it down your neck a little bit more easily if it is a hair too dark for you, whereas if it's a very full coverage foundation, then that's not going to be possible. So L'Oreal True Match in 1N is one of my favorites. Then we just go to the sister brand then, because Maybelline and L'Oreal are of course related. Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I was so happy to see when this came out that it came in so many shades. The original Fit Me didn't, and it also gave me a very, very bad itch along my jawline, so I was allergic to that one. But this one works really well for me, and I was so happy to see that I'm not the lightest shade, which there are 2 shades even lighter. I think there's 105 and a 100. This is 110, and this is Porcelain. This has a little bit more coverage, I find, than the L'Oreal True Match. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit creamier, but I do find that the name Matte and Poreless, I don't find this very matte, to be quite honest. And I love this in the winter time because I like to give my skin a little bit more coverage when the, you know, the darker, windier, my skin like needs that little bit of extra coverage. Whereas in the summertime, I find I can get away with a little bit less coverage. One of my favorite drugstore brands that is available here and that has been expanding worldwide is Catrice. They don't do very great dark shades, but they have been expanding in their lighter ranges. This is the last foundation they came out with. If you don't know, Catrice changes their range every 6 months. And this is the 24-hour Made to Stay makeup in the shade 005 Ivory Beige. I believe this is the lightest shade that they have. I'm not entirely sure. But at first, Catrice foundations and also Essence foundations, I couldn't try because they were much too dark and much too orange on me. But this is a great match. Again, it has a little bit more coverage, like the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. I actually bought them around the same time. This time last year, I would say I bought these. And this also has like some, like, at least it promises that it has them. I'm not sure. I can't vouch for that. But then it also has some like skincare properties to it. But it does have a nice coverage to it. I would say this is a medium coverage foundation, and it does come in a very light shade. So I'm happy about that. Now this foundation doesn't match me currently, but this foundation matches me mostly at the end of summer. And this is also not the lightest shade that is available, but at the time it was, and I think Covergirl actually came out with some additional shades later on. Again, Covergirl isn't necessarily known for doing very dark shades, so definitely in the lighter spectrum of things, this works a lot better. This is the Covergirl Ready Set Gorgeous, and this is such a great foundation, and it's such a shame that we can't buy it over here. You can only get this in the US. Mine is almost gone. There's like hardly anything in here, but I tend to only get use out of it like 3 or 4 weeks out of the year. But I love this because even if my skin is a little bit more tanned, I don't tan. I mean, I stay this pale pretty much year round, but I definitely can see if there's like a lot more light outside and all that, my skin perks up a little bit. It's also a little oilier usually, and that's when I like this foundation. It is an oil-free foundation, so that's probably why I like it there. And this is in the shade 110 Creamy Natural. And then last but not least, for the palest of the pale, I have found one in a drugstore, which, to be quite honest, I'm not sure if you can still get this. And I've only ever found this in the UK. So I'm not sure if they ever expanded this line, if you're still able to get it. I have no clue. This is the Lasting Finish Nude foundation. I never bought the original Lasting Finish because I thought it would be a little bit too heavy for my tastes. This does have a very good medium coverage. It's very creamy, which is again why I like it in the winter time. This is in the shade 010 Light Porcelain, and this doesn't even match me now. It's a little too light. However, if it's the dead of winter, which is what we're gearing up towards right now, I'm talking, you know, end of February when my skin hasn't seen any sun for like a good 5 months, I tend to go this pale. Again, Rimmel doesn't have a great shade range. Over here, we can usually get like 4 or 5 shades, and then you have to like cross your fingers that it actually matches you. In the UK, however, they did this line, and they did it in a super light shade, which I was very happy with. So there you have it, 5 foundations that I would like to recommend if you have super fair skin and if you're on a budget and you want to shop at the drugstore. Of course, higher end brands such as MAC, as well as Dior and all that, they do some very light foundations, but like I said, depending on where you live, you may not have access to the full range of shades that is available. So also for, you know, not just pale skin or dark skin, even if brands make them, you may sometimes not even get your hands on it, which is why I thought I would do like a variety of different foundations that I found in different countries. In any case, these are my favorite fair skin foundations, and I hope you really liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe because I make new videos every single Sunday. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.